realizes it's dead. The body is dead. After then, a bright ray opened from behind me and appeared under me. My body vanished. I didn't care about my body then. In ecstasy, I felt great. The light turned me, and this amazing gateway of color and light drew me in. It lured me in without my control. I'm in this amazing tunnel. I feel loved, cradled by affection, and moving quicker with these lovely hues. Colors pass me by and through me. I watch nebulas passing by me and wonder why I don't feel any breeze, but I'm moving so swiftly, like I'm traveling at light speed, and I'm feeling greater love, which is growing. I believe in God, so heaven is my final destination. I arrived at this magnificent lighted location with many ghosts. I felt in my heart, soul, and spirit even though I didn't have a body. I considered them family and friends. When I arrived, I heard myself say, "I'm home, I'm finally home." I knew I was home. This was my home and I'll return. To some extent, I was relieved. "Yes, Bill, you're home in the light of God. My name is Antonia, and I'm one of your guides," she murmurs in my ear. This is my first time hearing another voice. I hear voices, but now so do the spirits around me. My Antonia voice is inside, after she said I'm in God's light. I know I feel God. I feel God in this light. It was magnificent, man. It was just beautiful. Another bright, gorgeous beam approaches me after she mentioned I have two guides. In his conversation with me, this beam stated, "Hello, Billy." It was my brother Peter's voice. Since he reared me, I'll never forget it. Dad was usually working and traveling for business. He accompanied me to my ball games and did everything for me. Exactly like my dad. As I stated, his death literally killed me. I realized he was alive again when he said, "Yes, it's Peter Blay. We have to leave now and go to your life review." I had no idea what a life review was, and we left. He takes me to another lovely level. This is great. My childhood memories are being shown to me. I'm seeing things I've done for friends. Only now do I see myself in my body again. I see myself in my body and Peter in his, looking 31 and lovely. I perceive myself physically. Now they're taking me out with my friends, standing next to me. My mom had a tavern and grill across from a baseball stadium when I was a kid. We always watched sports and went to games. She sometimes offered me additional money so I could help my friends go since they couldn't. I did, and they didn't take advantage of me because they always helped me. My friendships with many people were beautiful. We went to the theater. I purchased popcorn and soda. Coney Island, a Brooklyn seashore amusement park, was sometimes our destination. It was lovely. That was amazing. As I go through my teens, they show me stuff. Now they're showing me gorgeous, good things one after another. Beautiful and wonderful. They show my school graduation and medals. WBC awarded me the Andrew Lloyd Webber for the Jesus Christ Superstar Card Contest. Happiness and people are returning to my life. I'm seeing and experiencing it. It was like returning. Like a flickering screen. So much was happening rapidly. Move to another area, and I'm moving. Stopping now. We're in the ambulance as we halt. I'm on a call with Danny, my partner. In the book, I changed their physical identities, but his name was Danny. I don't know, the publisher told me that when I wrote the book. Danny and I were called. Since this call was on the way to our station, we would pick up our vehicles in downtown Miami in the morning and load them for the day. We were on I-95 heading North Miami Beach for a 24-hour shift. Our station was in North Miami Beach, about 79th or 80th Street. A radio call arrives. At 135th Street and I-95 North, Danny and I stare at each other. Less than 2 minutes away. Expect us in 2 minutes. They would have been 15 minutes away if they called our station. I immediately picked up the mic and said, "This is 67F. We're going to take the call." The dispatcher informed 69 that Bill and Danny would handle the call. They were there. After I put the mic down, we arrived. Police patrol cars were present. All done. The truck and the automobile that hit it, and we got out. A young youngster has forehead lacerations and bleeding. First, I take the medic bag and go out with it, and Danny runs beside me, gets out of the car, and flees. He sits on the floor and says, "It's over my sister, my sister." We checked him and found him fine. He appeared to have minor forehead and face wounds. The windshield window shows half his sister's head when we turn around. She got half the windshield in her head. We must evaluate the enormous blood volume immediately. I cautiously stepped outside and held the top of her head over the glass and gave it to a man. We pulled down after he placed her head on a lap. Her head was covered in blood, so we held it down. I don't know much about the head or skull, but bad cuts and injuries bleed a lot. Head does. Now we take her. Danny drives, I'm the back medic, holding the gauze pad on her head. Her stretcher is in the back. I'm holding a gauze pad on her head to lower her head to halt bleeding. Her brother sits behind me in the unit. He sat on the opposite side, weeping and staring back, perhaps younger than her. I don't know his age, but she's seizing. She was unconscious when her body seizes. Her body is bouncing off the gurney as I hold her head down. I sat on the edge to keep her in the unit and prevent her from falling. I held my hand under her neck and on top of her head, but the seizure has thrown her legs up in the air and flipped her body. I shout, God, help me, and see Peter's hand put his hand on my side of this girl's head. They're showing me my near-death experience. Parkway General Hospital was only a few minutes away, fortunately. Formerly Parkway General Hospital. We visited the hospital. When I said, God, help me, I meant to ask my unit mate brother to keep her legs down, which he did. We found all the nurses at the hospital. Everyone was ready. She was gurneyed into the surgery room. Danny and I were full, and our uniforms were bloody, so we went back to the station. We called in to say we need to modify everything. Therefore, we can't take the next call. They thought it was fine because we have 2 additional units. We walked in, showered quickly, changed uniforms, and went about our day. I had one of my worst days physically. I couldn't stop thinking about this girl. This girl was all I could think about. I got early the next morning after a day of emergency and routine calls. I couldn't sleep because I kept thinking about this girl. Why was she on my mind so much? I've been doing this for years. I got Danny up early before we returned our unit downtown. I said, Danny, wake up. He looked at me and asked, why? I said, we have to go to Parkway. He looked at me and said, Bill, she's dead. She's not alive anymore. Let it go. He knew it was bugging me all day, so I persuaded him to agree. We flew up to Parkway, which was out of our way. We traveled 6 or 7 miles out of the way and had 6 or 7 to return. I had plenty of time because I woke him up an hour earlier. At the hospital, we entered the emergency department. Since we saw most emergency room nurses 3 times a day, I knew them well. The nurse, I think her name was Becky, asked me what happened to the young lady we brought in yesterday, and then leaned over and asked, you want to meet her? My arm hair rose up. Chills ran up my spine. It felt great. She said, follow me, and we entered her chamber. She was sitting up in bed. Her head was covered in a turban from forehead to back. She was eating jello with about 6 inches up. She didn't recognize us when we entered. Her brother awoke from sleeping on the room's chairs. He said, this is the man that saved your life. His sister was thrilled and put down the jello. It made me joyful. It was fun then. The excellent things they showed me continued after that. Then it changed. They revealed me my lifetime wrongs. I suffered minor wrongs, yet the hurt was so great. I was there again, just like when they showed me the good things. They showed me how I occasionally hurt someone emotionally. We all do insane things as teens. The toughest moment was when they showed me leaving my first wife. I felt her anguish. We had a boy. I admit I was young, dumb, and selfish at the time. I felt pain. I caused pain. After that, the physical pain was terrible. A couple more things were shown. I said, I'm sorry. Forgive me, God. I said, God, forgive me, and everything fell like a van. Now Antonia, Peter, and I are standing there in full form. Due to my many paramedic duties, I thought I did many nice things, like saving people with CPR, helping everyone I could, and doing the right thing in my life. I didn't hear him, but I thought, Bill, you did well, I think. You weren't judged because I don't think they do. Over there, you judge yourself. I felt pain because of that. That hurt so much. Antonia remarked, Bill, look at yourself. I told you when traveling, and even when I get to heaven, I'll call it heaven because I believe in God and the universe. I support both. Antonia told them, look at yourself. Beautiful light beams surround them. Looked at myself. The green mist I was in became a dazzling green beam of light, and I looked like them. Wonderful. I'm in love again. You know more than on Earth while you're in light energy. They estimate we use 6% of our mind's capacity. I think it's 90% or higher of our mind's capability on the other side. Love feels different there than here. No words can describe the most amazing feeling of being in God's love and in His light. We are magnificent light beings that are part of God's energy, the universe. I believe in God, the light. Jesus because I'm Christian, but other religions believe in others, and I think all good people go to heaven. Peter introduces my third guardian, Orin, and I see a huge, gorgeous angel approaching. He starts with, Bill, you did fine. I felt because I knew. It was already sensed. We are going up now. My book calls it the Hall of Events. Akashic records or other things may be heard in near-death experiences. We're traveling again. We're relocating to this lovely, fantastic hall of events, but it's like a gigantic crystallized theater. Sometimes a computer screen flickers and moves quickly. They started showing me time, and I didn't comprehend what he meant. Time is currently being shown me, taking me back in more than just my life. They're reintroducing me to global events. They'd remind me of wars I may have fought in. I think they took me back to Korea or World War II. I have no idea, but they started me there. They take me to birth. I remember my birth as beautiful. The three of us stand. Here I am with the three of them, witnessing everything. We're moving again, at light speed. We freeze as everything flickers in front of us. In school now. Not sure of the grade. In an elementary school, the principal spoke to the class through a wall speaker. One afternoon, the principal says President John F. Kennedy just got shot in Dallas, Texas. The class was sad and decided to let school out early. We went home. My mother wasn't at work, so I entered my house. She brought her friend Christine, who watched me as a child. Christine watched me sometimes when I was 11 in 1963. In addition, she helped around the house. My mother's best friend. I heard singing every day when I went home. My mother sang beautifully. In the 1930s and 1940s, she sang in huge ensembles. She performed with a huge band, and her companion Christine was lovely. My house was like Lady Sings the Blues because Christine sang like Diana Ross. It was amazing daily. However, the news was on TV when I arrived home, and they were both crying at the kitchen table. I know, Mom, I know. President Kennedy just got shot, I said, grieving with them. It etched so much. Then we move again. We're stopping at events. Even after Vietnam, we stopped. I saw helicopters leave buildings. We stopped when helicopters landed on top of the skyscraper to take people in, not during the enjoyment. I suppose the conflict ended in 1974. Not sore. 73, 74, or 75. I don't remember the year, but we quit. This is beyond that. Our journey has included death. I forgot Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy, John F. Kennedy's brother. We stopped at these significant events and are passing my near life. I was shown several things. Oh, sure, it showed my actions. I've seen some of my actions in my life review. However, my body is dying. I won't die since we dwell forever in the light. Now we're passing. We halt after crossing this. My heart knows 9 elements. Please remember that 9 elements was my first important event after death. I died in 1994, but they took me to 9 elements 7 years later. Since I was from Brooklyn, New York, many of my friends worked in those skyscrapers. We halt, and I see the crumble and ash dropping clearly. My guides and I are seeing everything clearly. My run begins. I want to run, but they say, Biddle, you can't run. We're in physical form again. This is the only 2 times you're in physical form. In your near-death experience and the Akashic records. My body moved, but not in my body, if you understand. Simply said, that was my photo. Orin adds, Bill, you can't. This is your future. I was confused. Near-death experiences were unfamiliar to me. Orin said, this is your future. He stopped me and asked, "What do you see, Bill?" I said, "I see everything, Oren." He said, "Yes, I see everything." He said, "Bill, you're looking at your future. You cannot go to hell. And don't be afraid of something falling on you because nothing could hurt you." They then took me to our current times. I think we face crucial decisions. My 2001 to 2002 book, Choices, was my first. In that work, I predicted modern times and highlighted technological growth. Technology and advanced robotics could displace traditional jobs, I predicted. Technology is great, but its application is essential for positive outcomes and employment development, as I wrote in my book. Today, we face a choice. We decide whether to produce jobs and promote peace. On a plane with several itineraries, I've seen the effects of our choices. We decide what's right and wrong. We govern everything. I've seen two major future planes in these visions. One is a world of devastation and calamity, like Mad Max. Food and water are scarce, causing terrible conditions and conflict. The other dimension is a utopia of peace and abundance. There are various intermediate outcomes between these extremes. We live in parallel realms and choose our futures. I promote kindness, giving, and service. These traits define humanity and lead to utopia. Selfishness and crime cause social degradation worldwide, even in the U.S. We must fix the homelessness in some states and use some of our profits to feed, help, and house the homeless. People worldwide need this. If there's a lot of money to be given out, I hope it's used for good causes like sending physicians to other nations and building up other countries alongside us. Our outdated infrastructure is going apart, while other countries are well ahead. I pray for positive transformation. Two distinct results emerged from my experiences. These paths were visible, but they said the two were most critical. Our outcome is optional. I think doing good is simple, loving, and compassionate. Universe's opposing forces, yin and yang, converge and change. I believe we're in a correctional moment where we must return to normalcy or go toward a utopian vision. That concludes the series. Please forgive me for taking up too much time. Question for you: can you envision humanity's future or path? I just explained that. What happened to me? I'm simply a regular person who had a near-death experience, but things happen around me that I wasn't notified about. I sometimes feel awful. I had tornado nightmares and feelings in 2002 when America bombarded Baghdad after 9/11 events. These dreams occurred before and after the attack. After the 2002 Baghdad attack, which they showed me, the U.S. suffered severe damage. 2 weeks to a month after the blast, 300 tornadoes slammed the southeast. After tornado dreams, I would wake up sweating and shaking my wife. That was 2002. I believe the earth has a spirit, but I didn't instantly associate it with the Baghdad bombing. Our earth breathes and gives oxygen and water,